Mortgage rates are increasing, and that might not be a bad thing. Let's talk about that. Hi, I'm Tom Byrd with Keller Williams, and today we're going to talk about the rising interest rates and what impact that has on the market. So let's get started. Each week, Freddie Mac comes out with the average interest rate for the week. Last week, the 30-year fixed interest rate went up to 5.78, which was 0.55% higher than the previous week. And in doing so, they gave us some commentary that we'll put right here for you. The highlights of the commentary is this was the largest one-week increase since 1987. And the expectation of doing this is that coming out of the pandemic, where we have experienced such high demand for housing and low supply, and they are trying to curb that and result in a more balanced housing market. While that rate is much higher than what we've seen in recent times, I would like to put that into a more historic context. Freddie Mac's been following interest rates since their formation in 1970. And by this graph, you can see what the interest rates of the 30-year fixed mortgage has done since 1970. Back in the 80s, it was pushing 20%. And we're really getting back to what we saw in the around 2010, late aughts, middle 2010s. So while we have enjoyed very, very low interest rates, it is still, from a historical context, fairly low. When looking at the housing market, it is a hyper-local market. Sure, everybody sees those nationwide headlines, and that might be somewhat relevant to most places in the nation. But when you're looking at real estate, you've got to look at a small area. What might be happening one place could be totally different than what's happening 50 miles away. So when we're looking at like an individual piece of property and trying to assign a value to that, we're going so far down to elementary or middle school, or even, high school if we need to, school zones. So we're not even looking at a county level. And when we're talking about our entire market, we focus on Coweta and Fayette counties, which were the two really nucleus of our service area. And that is what when we talk about our market, we're talking about just two counties. And those two counties could be totally different than, even a county that's north of Atlanta. So you have to be hyper focused. So now let's look at what's happened recently in Fayette and Coweta. For one, it means exactly what Freddie Mac said that the interest rates would do. It makes the market more towards the buyer as opposed to the seller. And Fayette and Coweta counties, like a lot of places in the nation since the pandemic began, has just been, frankly, nuts. Prices, the median price has gone up by over 30% in that time, where on average it's normally 4, 5, 6% increase per year. So the cost of housing has really gone up. And frankly, that needs to be curbed. And if you've ever tried to buy a house in the last 2 years, you know that you're basically in a bidding war. List prices tend to be the starting bid. And it's just been so hard to get into properties because the supply and demand is out of whack. Now, as we saw in the graph earlier, the more available homes means there's more supply. And when the interest rate increases, the demand is going down. So we're going from just a phenomenally strong seller's market to a very good seller's market. Now, does that mean that interest rates are going to stop going up? We don't know. They probably will go up. I've heard people talk into the 7s. But this market was so imbalanced, it could use a lot less buyers to really balance out and get us back to that healthy home growth rate. Now, there's some doomsayers out there that think that the housing market's going to crash. Most economists that we listen to and read think that it's not going to crash. It wouldn't be good for it to crash. the market is just going to slow down and get back to that historical growth rate. And that, frankly, is good for everybody. Ultimately, people ask, is this a good time to buy or sell? And really, the answer is yes to both. Interest rates may continue to go up, causing mortgage payments to be higher, as well as the prices are probably going to start stabilizing. So, you're not going to say, well, if I wait till next year, I can get 15% more. That's probably not going to happen. So if you're in the south or west part of the Atlanta metro area and you're looking to buy or sell, please contact us. Our information is attached. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.
Do you want to know more about real estate? Be sure to watch this next video. And don't forget to subscribe. That way you'll know when I drop my next video.